Chosen one, let me ask you something straight from the Spirit. Have you ever wondered why God allowed your relationship to end? Why someone to whom you gave your heart, someone you thought was a divine blessing, suddenly became a stranger? Why the bond that once seemed like destiny crumbled as if it never meant anything? If these questions resonate in your soul, then this message is not just for you, it is about you. And it could not reach you at a better time. You are not here by accident. This is not a random video you stumbled upon. Heaven has aligned your steps so that you hear this message at this precise moment, because something in your spirit is ready to awaken to a deeper truth. This is a divine appointment. You are a chosen one. You do not operate under the same spiritual laws as the world. And the relationships in your life, especially those that break you, are often used to shape you, transform you, and set you apart for a divine design. What you called a breakup, God called a breakthrough. This divorce, this heartbreak, this separation, it was not a loss. It was a surgical removal. God said you were divorced from your partner for a divine reason. And in this message, we are going to dive deep into what that means for your life, your calling, and your spiritual elevation. Comment 444 if you already feel this message stirring something in you. Subscribe now. Hit the bell so you do not miss your spiritual food, and share this with another chosen one who is still trying to make sense of their pain. Stay here. You are about to understand why what broke you actually built you, understanding the spiritual identity of the chosen one. Chosen one. Before we even begin to unpack why this relationship had to end, we must first establish who you truly are. You are not just a person drifting through life without purpose, stumbling into situations without meaning. You are marked, set apart, consecrated for a higher calling. From the moment you took your first breath, your life was already aligned with a divine design. You may not have been aware of it, your family may not have seen it, but heaven has always known who you are. The chosen are not selected based on status, education, wealth, or appearance. No, the chosen are handpicked by God because of their spirit, because of the divine seed planted in them. You were chosen in the fire through trials, through rejection, through loss, and through abandonment. Your pain was not meaningless. Every scar on your soul was proof of your assignment. That is why your relationships do not look like everyone else's. That is why your heartbreak hits differently. You do not love on the surface. When you connect spiritually. You pour from your soul. That is why when it breaks something deep within you. But that is also why God does not allow just anyone to stay in your life. Your spirit is sacred. Your calling is too heavy for unequally yoked partnerships. You may have noticed that your life has never followed the so-called normal path. While others settle, you have always felt something pulling you upward. You may not have had the words to describe it, but deep down, you knew there was something different about you. And that difference is not pride, it is design. God has refined you. He has shaped you and removed things and people that do not align with your anointing. Many chosen ones carry a heavy emotional burden because they have been placed in environments where they do not belong spiritually. You were born into dysfunction not to adopt it, but to overcome it. You were surrounded by betrayal, abandonment, confusion, and heartbreak. But through it all, God formed your identity not as a victim, but as a vessel. When you are chosen, your spiritual frequency is elevated. You are sensitive to things others ignore. You notice what others brush off. This is not paranoia, it is discernment. Your spirit reacts to energy, to truth, to deception, to false intimacy. And that is why you often could not settle in relationships that looked good on the outside, but carried darkness underneath. Your soul could not rest because your spirit knew something was not aligned. And when God saw you struggling to let go, He stepped in Himself. You see, many people think being chosen is about blessing, about being favored. And yes, there is favor. But before favor comes fire. Before glory comes separation. Before divine union comes divine isolation. Because to walk in your full power, God must first remove every attachment that blocks your vision, including the person you love most. Being chosen means your relationships are divinely monitored. God will close doors you are too emotional to close. He will cut ties that seem like soulmates to protect you from soul wounds. You are not being punished, you are being protected. That is why your breakup did not break you. It gave you birth. Some of you are asking, but why did it have to hurt so much? And I tell you, because the love you gave was not fake. You gave real love to someone who was not equipped to carry it. And because your love was rooted in your spirit, losing them felt like a spiritual death. But God is not done with you. He allowed it because that relationship was never meant to define you. It was meant to reveal you. Chosen one, you were not called to be yoked with someone who does not recognize the mantle you carry. You are not meant to fight for a love that fights against your growth. You are not created to shrink for someone else's comfort. You are called to stand in full spiritual authority. And anyone who cannot walk beside you in that must be released. No matter how many stories you shared, the world may see your divorce or separation as failure, but the spiritual realm sees it as freedom. God disconnected you to reconnect you to yourself, to your mission, and eventually to someone divinely aligned. But first, He had to show you who you are. You are not just chosen. You are anointed. You are a light in dark places. And light cannot be hidden under partnerships that drain its power. It must rise. And to rise, sometimes we must release. This is your reminder. You are not broken. You are awakening. Everything that did not work out worked for you. And if you have felt alone, misunderstood, or out of place, it is because you are not of this world. You have been set apart. And this spiritual identity is the foundation of everything God is about to reveal in your life. Stay rooted, because what comes next will make everything you lost make sense. Why the relationship had to end. Chosen one, let us speak truth today. A deep, uncomfortable, liberating truth. This relationship, the one you still replay in your mind, the one you cried over, prayed over, and maybe even begged God to save, it had to end. Not because you were unworthy, not because you failed, but because God saw something you could not see. And when He says enough, no force in the universe can override that divine order. You see, when you are chosen, your relationships carry weight. They are not just about companionship or emotional comfort. They are assignments, alignments, spiritual agreements. And if someone is walking with you who does not carry the spiritual maturity, integrity, or destiny alignment to go where you are going, God will allow that relationship to collapse sometimes suddenly, sometimes painfully, but always with purpose. Many of you were holding on to a relationship that was expired in the spirit long before it ended in the physical. You could feel the shift, the distance, the spiritual disconnection, but your heart did not want to let go. You kept trying to fix a soul tie that God was already trying to break. And when God saw you struggling to do what needed to be done, He did it for you. The breakup was not the enemy's work, it was heaven's intervention. Understand this. The person you were with was not bad. In fact, they may have even loved you in their own way. But love without spiritual alignment is dangerous. It becomes a distraction, a delay, even a deception. They were sent for a season, not a lifetime. And when the season expired, so did the assignment. But you tried to turn a lesson into a lifetime commitment. That is where the pain came from. Let me be clear, chosen one. Not everyone is assigned to your destiny. Some people were assigned to your past. Others were only meant to trigger your awakening, and some were there to mirror wounds you had not yet healed. God used the relationship as a tool to reveal what was hiding in you. The unhealed trauma, the unresolved pain, the desperate need for connection. It was never about them, it was always about you. God will never allow someone to stay in your life who threatens your becoming. And the truth is they were standing in the way of your next level. Maybe you did not want to see it. Maybe you were attached to the comfort, the history, or the illusion of what could have been. But God saw their heart. He saw their motives. He saw what they said about you in rooms you were not in. And above all, He saw how they were blocking the full manifestation of your design. Some of you were tied to people who could only love the old version of you, the broken, insecure, compromised version. But the healed, elevated, spiritually awakened version, they could not handle that person. They were intimidated by your growth. They were uncomfortable with your shine. They started criticizing what they once admired, and instead of celebrating your evolution, they resisted it. That was your sign. The relationship had to end because you were outgrowing the spiritual agreement. When two people do not evolve together, one becomes an anchor, and God will not let his chosen stay anchored to people who keep them below their potential. And let us be real, some of you were yoked to people who secretly resented your light. They smiled in your face, but deep down, they were jealous of your spirit. They loved your energy but hated that it did not come from them. They fed off your anointing without ever feeding your soul. It was not a partnership, it was a spiritual drain. And God said no more. You may be wondering, but why did it feel so right at the beginning? Because the enemy knows how to package distraction in a way that feels divine. Not every connection is divine just because it feels intense. Some soul ties are rooted in trauma, not truth. Some chemistry is just familiar dysfunction, and just because they felt like home does not mean they were. Sometimes they felt like home because your wounds were used to chaos. The relationship had to end because God is calling you higher into peace, into design, into purity, and you cannot walk there if you are bound to confusion, manipulation, and emotional instability. God loves you too much to leave you bound to something slowly killing your spirit. That is why he allowed the disconnection. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it broke you. But sometimes God allows the breaking so he can rebuild you the right way. You thought you needed them to feel whole, but God wanted to show you that your wholeness never came from them. It came from him. Some of you are still emotionally holding on. Even if the breakup happened months or years ago, you are still replaying conversations, still checking social media, still waiting for closure. But let me tell you the truth, closure does not come from them. Closure comes when you finally accept that God said no. And if God said no, there is a greater yes waiting on the other side. But you cannot receive the divine partner, the next level, the open door, until you release the counterfeit connection. Stop trying to resurrect what God has already buried. Stop praying for restoration when God is offering redirection. You are being pruned, not punished, released, not abandoned. The relationship had to end because the story was not about romance, it was about revelation. God used it to reveal your strength, your worth, your discernment. And now he is asking you to walk forward with that wisdom. Chosen one, you did not lose love. You gained clarity. You gained healing. You gained access to a new realm of spiritual maturity. And when the time is right, when your heart is ready, when your soul is whole, God will align you with someone who does not just desire you, but honors your design. Until then, let go, not because it did not matter, but because it has already served its design. Comment 777 if this word has touched your spirit. The old season is over, and what is ahead is greater than anything you left behind. Spiritual warfare in relationships, chosen ones. There is something most people never understand, and that is the level of spiritual warfare that surrounds your relationships. The moment you were marked by heaven, your life became more than about jobs, friendships, or love. It became a battlefield. And one of the enemy's most strategic weapons against the chosen is relationships. Not demons in the dark, not some mysterious force from afar, but people. People who come packaged in charm, affection, even love, but are used to subtly pull you out of alignment with your assignment. You need to know this. The enemy does not attack your life randomly. He is calculated. He studies your patterns, your past, your wounds, your loneliness. He knows exactly what kind of person can reach your heart. And more often than not, he will not send someone to harm you with obvious evil. No, he will send someone who looks like the answer to your prayer. But over time, they drain your peace, confuse your mind, and weaken your spirit. That is spiritual warfare. When you are chosen, your heart is powerful, your love is healing, your presence shifts atmospheres, and the enemy knows that if he can tie your soul to the wrong person, he does not need to destroy you. He can just distract you long enough to miss divine timing. He can delay your design, dilute your power, and disrupt your focus. That is why you will notice that every time you draw closer to God, someone from your past reappears, or someone new arrives who seems perfect, but your spirit feels uneasy. That is not coincidence, it is interference. Spiritual warfare in relationships does not always look like arguments, infidelity, or obvious toxicity. Sometimes it looks like confusion, stagnation, passivity, and spiritual coldness. You will start praying less. You will feel distant from God. You will lose momentum. Your energy drops, your vision blurs, and before you know it, your identity. That is when you know it is not just emotional, it is spiritual. There are people who carry spirits that clash with your design. Their presence may feel intoxicating, even magnetic, but beneath the surface, there is an invisible battle. And if you are not discerning, you will be emotionally invested in someone who is spiritually incompatible, and that is a dangerous place for a chosen one to be. Some of you were in relationships that were spiritually abusive, not in obvious ways, but subtle. You lowered your standards to keep the peace. You dimmed your light to make them comfortable. You held back your spiritual gifts because they did not understand them. You gave love while receiving confusion. You were loyal to someone who was sent to delay you. That is warfare, chosen one. And here is the deeper truth. Some of these people were not just misaligned. They were assigned, sent by the enemy to attach to your weakness, to pull on your wounds, to activate your old self. Not because they are evil, but because they were available for the enemy to use. And you, being full of love and compassion, kept giving chances. You kept hoping they would change. You kept ignoring red flags, even when your spirit was screaming that something was wrong. But you must understand that love is not enough when spiritual destiny is involved. That person may have had good intentions, but if their presence derails your peace, your clarity, and your walk with God, they are not for you. God is not the author of confusion. And anything or anyone pulling you out of divine order is not a blessing. It is a distraction disguised as desire. That is why God sometimes has to tear it all down. Not because He wants to see you in pain, but because He is fighting for you in realms you cannot see. While you cry over the relationship, He is canceling demonic assignments against your life. While you beg for restoration, He is working to restore you. He is cutting soul ties that were draining your anointing. He is separating attachments that were silently killing your calling. Chosen one, you cannot afford to be unequally yoked. Your design is too great, your spirit is too sensitive, your calling is too unique. You are not just building a life, you are building a legacy. You are not just falling in love, you are forming spiritual alliances, and the wrong person in your life can cause divine delay. That is why spiritual warfare does not always come as an enemy. It often comes through the people you love most. That is why some breakups felt like death, because they were not just breakups, they were spiritual surgeries. God was removing something toxic from your soul, something that would have cost you more than you realize. And though it looked like heartbreak, it was actually heaven's hand pulling you out of the fire. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. You are spiritually awake. You see through the veil that discomfort you felt with them, that lack of peace, that joy draining even in their presence. It was not just emotional, it was discernment. Your spirit knew what your heart did not want to admit. And if you are still feeling the aftershocks, if you are still thinking about them, if you are still wondering what went wrong, know this. The battle is not over. The enemy does not let go easily. He will send memories, dreams, signs, anything to pull you back into the connection. But you must be vigilant. You must be sober in spirit. That person was not your forever. It was your test, and you passed it by walking away or surviving what should have broken you. Now God is calling you into full spiritual alignment. He wants to pour into you, speak to you, elevate you, but He needs your heart to be fully His again. No more divided loyalty, no more soul confusion, no more warfare through love. Your next level requires peace, it requires clarity, it requires spiritual security. And God is preparing someone who will cover you in prayer, not manipulate you in silence. Someone who will guard your heart, not play with it. But to receive that, you must stay free from what once tried to destroy you. Chosen one, you have been through enough. Let your healing become your warfare now. Let your wholeness become your revenge. Let your discernment be your shield, because the war is over and your victory has already been written. It was a divine disconnection, not a failure. Chosen one, it is time to release the guilt. Drop the shame. Stop replaying the past trying to figure out what you could have done differently. The truth is, it did not fall apart because you failed. It did not end because you were not enough. It ended because God stepped in, and when heaven intervenes, it is not to embarrass you, it is to elevate you. What you went through was not just a breakup. It was a divine disconnection, a spiritual cut, a separation that had to happen so you could fully step into who you are becoming. And when something is divinely disconnected, there will be signs, clear spiritual signs that God Himself orchestrated the separation. You just have to look back with new eyes and recognize what was really happening in the spirit. One of the first signs is the inner pull you felt before anything went wrong, before the arguments, before the silence, before the final goodbye. You felt it, that spiritual nudge that something was off. Maybe you could not explain it, maybe you ignored it, but deep in your soul, you knew it was not anxiety chosen one. It was the Holy Spirit alerting you. It was God trying to prepare you for release. Then came the shift. Things started feeling forced. Conversations lacked depth. Peace started fading. You may have even started feeling like you were betraying yourself just to keep the connection alive. You gave more but received less. You were constantly overanalyzing, constantly shrinking, constantly adjusting while they stayed the same. That is because your spirit was growing, but the relationship was not. And when something no longer grows with you, it will either break or break you. Another sign that it was a divine disconnection is how fast everything fell apart after you prayed for clarity. Some of you asked God to show you the truth, and suddenly the mask fell off. You saw their real intentions, conversations changed, energy changed. Do not take that lightly. It was not coincidence, it was your prayer being answered. And sometimes the answer does not come as healing, it comes as revelation. Notice how the chaos started right before your spiritual awakening or elevation. That is not random either. God often removes people before a promotion. He knows they cannot go with you, not because they are bad, but because their presence would poison the next level. What looked like heartbreak was actually heaven protecting your promise. Another confirmation is the growth you experienced after the breakup. Yes, it hurt. Yes, you were confused. But deep down, you started feeling lighter, clearer, more connected to yourself. You started rediscovering who you were before, trying to mold yourself into who they wanted you to be. You started praying again, creating again, breathing again. You reclaimed your worth. That is not what failure looks like. That is what freedom looks like. Chosen one. Real failure is staying somewhere God has already left. Real failure is clinging to what God has already cut. The fact that you walked away or survived when they left is proof that you are aligned with heaven's will. The enemy wants you to think you lost something. But if it was sent to destroy your spirit, steal your peace, or delay your design, it was never truly yours. What God removes, He always replaces with better. You know, it was a divine disconnection because looking back, it all makes sense now. At the time, your emotions clouded your vision, but now you see it. You see how much of yourself you were sacrificing. You see how spiritually stagnant you were. You see how drained, anxious, silenced you were. And now that you are out of it, you can breathe again. That is your confirmation. Some of you even felt relief the moment it ended, even if your heart was broken. That strange mix of grief and peace, that is not confusion. It is your soul exhaling. It is your spirit recognizing it has been freed from something heavy. Do not ignore that feeling. It is not weakness, it is alignment. God's disconnections are not chaotic. They may be painful, but they come with clarity, with revelation, with growth. You stopped begging, you stopped explaining, you stopped trying to prove your worth. And the moment you stopped, healing began. That is a sign of divine interference. And perhaps the most powerful sign is this. Since the relationship ended, you have drawn closer to God. You have had dreams, insights, warnings of wisdom you never had before. The fog lifted, the noise stopped. You can hear His voice again, and that chosen one is everything. When a relationship blocks your ability to hear from God, it has to go. Period. So release the regret. You did not fail. You were freed. It was a divine disconnection to preserve your destiny. And sometimes God does not explain before He removes. He does not always give you the full map. Sometimes He just says, trust me. And when you obey that still small voice, even when it breaks your heart, you are not walking in failure. You are walking in faith. You are not abandoned. You are redirected. You are not alone. You are protected. Everything you thought was rejection was really God's hand pulling you out before it cost you everything. And when God removes, He also restores. Divine replacement is coming, but it only comes to those who release what He has disconnected. Chosen one, it was never the end of your story. It was the beginning of your rebirth. And if you see the signs now, it means you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Trust Him, honor Him, and walk boldly into the future God is calling you to. Comment 999 if your spirit sees it clearly now. It was not failure, it was divine protection, divine pruning, and divine positioning. And your next chapter will prove why it had to happen exactly as it did. God's protection disguised as rejection, chosen one. One of the hardest pills to swallow on this spiritual journey is this. What you saw as rejection was actually God's protection. That person walking away, that door closing, that silence after all your efforts, it was not meant to destroy you, it was meant to save you. And though your heart did not understand it in the moment, your spirit is awakening now to a deeper truth. God saved you through what hurt you. Let us be real. That person you cried over, prayed for, tried to hold on to, tried to fix. God allowed them to walk out of your life because they were not part of your divine assignment. You wanted them, you loved them, you were loyal to them, but they were contaminating your spirit, distracting your focus, derailing your growth. And no matter the potential you saw in them, God saw the truth behind the potential. There is a version of you that would have stayed longer, that would have settled, compromised, tolerated, endured all in the name of love. But God saw that version becoming smaller and smaller. He saw you dimming your light to keep someone who did not even pray for your soul. He saw you justifying behavior that was breaking your spirit. And because He loves you, He allowed the rejection to protect the anointing on your life. Chosen one, some rejections are not because of what you did wrong, but because of who you are becoming. Your destiny is so high, so heavy, so full of design that some people cannot go there with you. They may have been good to you, but they were not good for you. And when God sees danger you cannot see, emotional, spiritual, or even physical, He intervenes. You prayed for God to order your steps, did you not? You asked Him to align your life, elevate your design, and remove anything not meant for you. But here is the truth many do not realize. Sometimes the answer to that prayer is rejection. It comes in the form of someone not choosing you, not fighting for you, not staying. And though it hurts your heart, it is actually building your protection. Rejection taught you what real peace feels like. It taught you what alignment sounds like. It turned you inward and upward. You started seeking God again. You started praying not for people to come back, but for wisdom to never repeat the cycle. That shift, that spiritual pivot is proof that the rejection served its design. It did not break you. It gave you birth. Let us speak truth. You were never rejected by God. You were redirected by God. That person rejecting you was not the final authority on your worth. Their absence does not define your worth. What they could not carry, God will place in the hands of someone who is equipped and aligned. But first, He had to remove what was blocking the blessing. Sometimes God lets the connection break, so He can heal the parts of you that thought love had to come through suffering. So He can restore the parts of you that thought being chosen meant being tolerated. No, chosen one. Being chosen means being protected at all costs, even if the cost is your own comfort. The pain you felt, it had design. The goodbye, it had grace written all over it. That silence you received from them, it was a holy pause that gave you room to breathe again. And I know it hurt. I know you felt discarded, unseen, unworthy, but I also know you are still standing, and not just standing. You are wiser. You have gained discernment. You no longer beg for what does not belong to you. That is the power of divine rejection. Some of you were confused when they left after everything you poured into them. You gave loyalty, love, support, forgiveness, and yet they walked away. But let me tell you something that will set you free. When God's hand is on your life, He will not let anything or anyone keep you in bondage. Even if it looks like love on the surface, He will allow the rejection to feel final because He does not want you running back to a prison disguised as partnership. There are conversations God heard that you did not. There were intentions behind their words that you could not see. There were battles in the spiritual realm happening on your behalf. You only saw the breakup. God saw the spiritual blockage being removed. In the same way a parent pulls a child back from running into traffic, God will pull you back from relationships that seem safe but are actually destructive. You may kick, scream, cry, but in time you will see that He saved you. You will thank Him for every unanswered prayer, for every no, for every delay, for every person who did not show up. One day soon, you will look back and say, if He had not rejected me, I would never have found myself. I would never have found God like I did. I would never have reached this level of peace. And that is when you will see it clearly at last. The rejection was never rejection. It was redirection. It was protection. It was love. So lift your head, chosen one, dry your tears, stop asking why they left. Start thanking God that they did. That door did not close to hurt you. It closed to hide you, to protect you, to preserve your oil. Your design is too sacred to be shared with someone who could not honor it. And now that you are free, the path is open for someone who will love you. Not just emotionally, but spiritually. You are not less than you are not forgotten. You are covered. You have been protected, and your next blessing will not ask you to beg, to shrink, or to prove your worth. It will recognize you instantly because it will be sent by God just as the rejection was. Healing and reclaiming your divine power, chosen one. Now that the truth has been revealed and the storm has passed, you may find yourself standing in the aftermath, alone, reflecting, and maybe even a little uncertain. But let me tell you something your spirit already knows. This is not the end. It is the beginning of your healing, the awakening of your divine power, and the restoration of everything that was stolen, broken, or buried. Healing is not about pretending you are fine. It is not about rushing through the pain or slapping false positivity on it. No, healing for the chosen is sacred work. It is soul deep. It is a divine process that requires you to sit with the pain, not run from it, to feel it fully so it can release its grip on you. Because pain you do not face is pain that keeps you bound. Some of you spent years pouring your love, your energy, your loyalty into someone who could not see you, someone who mishandled the divine in you. And now you are left with the residue, the grief, the confusion, the resentment. But here is what I need you to understand. Those emotions are not your identity. They are signals, temporary visitors. They are not who you are. You are not your heartbreak. You are not your past. You are not what they did to you. You are divinely chosen. And that means your healing is not just to survive, it is for resurrection. The first step to reclaiming your divine power is forgiveness. Not for them, for you. Forgiveness is how you cut the spiritual cord, keeping you tied to the wound. It does not mean you excuse the betrayal or pretend it did not hurt. It means you refuse to let it own you any longer. You reclaim your power from every memory, every lie. Every time you felt unworthy, you say it stops with me. Forgiveness is the soil in which your divine self will rise again. Next comes remembrance. You must remember who you were before the heartbreak clouded your vision, before the confusion silenced your voice, before you started shrinking to make others feel big. You must return to the truth that you are sacred, powerful, and whole. Chosen one, it is time to reclaim your spiritual authority. You spent too much time seeking validation and human love when you were created to be fueled by divine love. No more begging for someone to see your worth, no more waiting for closure, no more chasing ghosts. The season of lack is over. Now begins the season of restoration. When you reclaim your divine power, you start moving differently. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop apologizing for your boundaries. You stop watering relationships that never fed your soul. You stand tall not in pride, but in spiritual confidence. Because you now understand that being chosen means you do not have to force anything. What is for you will recognize you. What is for you will flow with you. It will not drain your spirit or confuse your heart. It will honor the divine in you without question. And as you heal, do not be surprised if old thoughts or people try to come back. That is the enemy's last attempt to keep you bound. When your light starts rising, darkness will try one last time to pull you back. But now, you are not the same. You have seen too much, you have grown too strong. Your spirit is too awake to fall for old tricks. You have learned, and your discernment is your sword now. Reclaiming your divine power also means reclaiming your voice. Speak life over yourself again. Speak affirmations that align with heaven's truth. I am healed. I am whole. I am chosen. I release the past. I walk in divine power. These are not just words. They are declarations that rearrange your atmosphere. They shift your energy. They remind every spirit around you that you are no longer broken. You are becoming, and let me say this clearly, you are not hard to love. You just loved people who were not ready for someone like you. Your love is rare, your heart is sacred, your loyalty is gold. The right person will not abuse it. The right person will recognize the divine gem you are. And until then, you will love yourself the way you always deserve to be loved. That means resting your soul, praying not just for others, but for yourself, being present with your own healing, allowing yourself joy again, reclaiming your dreams, walking boldly, laughing freely, creating again, loving again, living again, because this is your resurrection. The ashes of that broken relationship fertilize the soil for your rebirth, and you are rising. Not bitter but better, not hurt but wiser, not broken but shining. You are not a victim of what happened. You are the living testimony that healing is holy and power is your birthright. Chosen one, your story does not end in heartbreak. It is only beginning in divine power, and the next chapter of your life will not ask you to prove, perform, or suffer. It will only ask you to walk as the person you always were, whole, wise, radiant, and fully aligned with heaven. So take a breath, take your crown, take your place. Your healing is here, and your power has always been waiting for you to remember who you are. Your kingdom partner can only come when you let go. Chosen one, I need you to hear this loud and clear. Your kingdom partner cannot enter until you release what was never meant to stay. You have kept space in your heart, your thoughts, even your prayers for someone who was only sent for a season. But the divine partner you are praying for, the one who will walk with you in design, not just pleasure, can only reach you when the door is fully closed on the counterfeit. You say you are ready for love, but are you truly available emotionally, spiritually, energetically? Because as long as your heart is tangled with the past, there is no room for God to release the new. And let us be honest, many of you are still checking their pages, still replaying conversations, still holding on to hope that maybe one day they will come back and get it right. But here is the truth. They were not your kingdom partner. If they were, they would not have pulled you away from your peace, from your prayer life, from your design. Your kingdom partner will never make you question your worth or ask you to shrink your spirit. They will not mute your anointing. They will protect it, feed it, and walk in step with it. Letting go does not mean you did not love deeply. It means you love yourself and God's plan more than the illusion. It means you finally trust that what is coming is greater than what left. Because the kingdom partner God is preparing for you is not just about romantic companionship. They are part of your assignment. They are your divine alignment, not just a date night. So why does God wait until you have truly let go before bringing them? Because anything less than full surrender keeps your heart divided. God will not send someone carrying his spirit into a soul still carrying confusion. He loves you too much to bless you prematurely. He needs you healed, whole, and ready. And that means releasing not just the person, but the idea of who you thought they were, the hope they would change, and the fantasy of what could have been. Some of you are still loyal to a version of the past that never existed. You are clinging to memories that were more about your longing than reality. But God saw what you could not see. He saw the private intentions behind the public affection. He saw the spiritual imbalance beneath the emotional bond. And he said, "No more, I have something better." Your kingdom partner does not come to fix your brokenness. They come to build with your wholeness. But first, that wholeness must be claimed. You cannot attract divine alignment while clinging to what heaven has already closed. You cannot walk in the new while worshiping what was. God is patient, but he will not force your blessing into a heart still bound to bondage. Letting go may feel like death, but it is actually deliverance. It is the spiritual detox your soul needs to clear the space. And when you finally release fully, not halfway, your posture changes, your prayers change, your energy changes. You start walking with boldness, discernment, peace. And that is where alignment begins. Your kingdom partner is not perfect, but they are full of design. They will meet you at your healed level, not your wounded level. They will speak to your spirit, not manipulate your mind. They do not come to be entertained. They come to build a legacy. They will not smell like confusion. They will not play with your soul. They will come with clarity, consistency, and God's confirmation. But do not expect to receive that level of partnership if you are still romanticizing emotional chaos. Do not ask God for a kingdom spouse while tolerating spiritual dysfunction. Your heart must be postured to receive the kind of love that does not just make you feel good, but makes you better, stronger, more focused, more aligned. That is why the waiting season matters. It is not punishment, it is preparation. In this time, God refines your discernment. He increases your spiritual authority. He teaches you what love really is. Not attachment, not obsession, not emotional highs and lows. Love is alignment, security, and spiritual unity. Letting go also means releasing timelines. It means surrendering your idea of when it should happen and trusting divine timing. God's plan is never delayed. It is prepared, and your job is not to rush the blessing, but to become the blessing. So ask yourself, am I truly ready for the kind of love I am praying for? Is my heart still attached to something or someone God has already released me from? Am I ready to close the door so heaven can open the right one? Your kingdom partner is already being shaped. Their heart is being stirred. Their path is being aligned with yours, but they cannot meet a version of you still living in the shadows of the past. You must be free. You must be whole. You must be ready to receive love without resistance. Chosen one, God did not let that old thing last because He has something sacred waiting. And when it comes, you will know, it will not feel like survival. It will feel like peace, design, divine confirmation. But until then, let go. Release it fully. Grieve it if you must, but do not go back. Do not entertain it. Do not revisit it. Trust that what God removes, He replaces with greater. And when your kingdom partner arrives, you will thank God for every delay, every tear, and every closed door that prepared you for the blessing you were destined to receive. May God bless you.